All right, Evolve. Let's let these folks in the room here. So excited. Joelle, Andy, Danya's in the house, Janine's in the house, Catherine's in the house. All right. I love it. I love it. Let's give just one more minute for folks to kind of join us here, and we're going to jump in and get started. I'm going to spotlight Evolve and me and folks. Just so excited for this conversation today. If you already know that you have questions, delivery related and or how to use AI tools to help, up level that delivery, then you can pop those in the chat at any time. We can cover those as we go, but also there'll be some time towards the end of the call to ask those questions live if you'd like. So with that, I'm just gonna start us off with the standard intro music, because that's how we roll. It's Friday, everybody. Come on. Yeah. Looking good. Evolve, evolve. You still got it. You
You
still
know,
got
anytime I'm in this group, I'm always wanting to dance. You make me
it.
feel good in my feet and in my body. I appreciate it.
Well, I have to start with a big thank you because Evolve is a little under the weather, but pushed through, had some tea, had some herbal tea, and has a nap planned after this. So already
Yes, a
just need
puppy
to.
nap. I got two dogs, one on each
Okay.
side, one on each side.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for being here, Evolve. Evolve and I go back, man, it's been years. We've been just collaborating and doing stuff together and we're in very similar spaces and you're always helping speakers and your Speak for Profit Academy is amazing. Evolve and I met at the Kajabi conference last year as well, which was so cool to finally be in person. Isn't it wild? It's just like you build relationships on Zoom, and then all of a sudden you're in person, and it's
And they're
um,
like a human in real life,
I know
and
it's
you
weird.
get
It's
to
weird,
like
but
hug and take pictures, and it was cool because you were hitting the stage at Kajabi live, and you did a great
yes,
job, and I got to take photos of you, and then I'm
yes.
on Facebook one day and I see one of the photos I took of you in one of your ads. I'm like, look at this,
Oh, really?
like, yeah. I was like, I know I took that photo. You looked amazing though. Like you did a great
Oh my
job with that
gosh.
event. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. Let me know if I need to give appropriate credit to the photo because I
Oh,
didn't even realize it.
I just was excited that I knew where the photo was more than anything. I was like, no one else knows that this is probably like Kajabi Live. Like, like I
Oh
felt
my
more excited
goodness.
about that.
Well, listen, folks, if you're with us live, you're in for a real treat. Evolve is just a wealth of knowledge in the space of speaking and also building the business around speaking and using some cool tools with AI as we all know, there are things that AI can do very well and some things that it doesn't do well, some things you should use it for, some things you probably shouldn't use it for, right? And so we're going to kind of explore that as it pertains to delivery. But I just want to say, find Evolve on social media. Evolve has a community on School that you can join. A book coming out called From Pitch to Profit.
From pitch to
That's
paid, pitch to paid.
Pitch to Paid coming out this
Yeah.
year, or when do you think? What's the drop date on that?
You know what? I am still in the process of writing and I'm an artist, right? So I want to take my time, but before the end of 2026, it'll be out. I'll
I
say
love it.
that. Yeah,
All right. Well, keep
definitely.
an eye out, folks, and we'll post and promote it for you in the Facebook community, of course.
Yeah, with
Um,
integrity. If I was really not using integrity with AI, I could have it out for you next week.
when I started my book journey, I can't tell you how many pitches I got about like, oh, just give us, some interviews that you did and we'll make it for you. And I was like, there's no way that's gonna be good. And so we took the long route and really, it took longer than I care to admit. But really proud of it, and it was the right call for sure.
Mhm.
Um, Well, we have arrived, Evolve. I hope that was I captured, what you do. But if you want to add anything here for folks that I may have missed, please let us know. Anything more that we should know about you.
Yeah, I think you did a great job of introducing me, y'all. I am big on speakers speaking from the stage and in boardrooms and to your puppies, right? Like really the art of communication. I'm a poet and artist at heart. And I started this business because what I seen was that a lot of people didn't understand how to charge their worth, right? They were so like connected to the impact that they were burning themselves out. So I'm all about easeful abundance. So if you're looking for someone who can support you with ease, I am your person. If you want someone who's like, hey, let's get rich quick and burn ourselves out, I am not your person. So that's what I'll share. Definitely.
I love that. I love that. And I love the your own speaking and the work that you do as well. And so just feel really aligned. Okay, fantastic. So I want to just kind of jump in. I I've been playing around with tools and ChatGPT, Claude, Poppy, and yeah, I find that because it's essentially a model, it is it's only as good as the content that you give it and the prompts that you give it, right? So of course it can pull and bring in a lot of information and it starts to get better at stuff, which is cool. When it comes to delivery, talk to us about, how we should be thinking about effective ways that we can use it.
I think that really AI comes in as being your assistant coach. That's what I always say, right? Like you need a human coach, y'all. Don't get me wrong. But if you want an assistant in between the time when you are on an amazing call with Caesar or me, and you're like, you know what? Like, I want to practice my speech and I want to get some critical feedback on my pacing or my tone or my energy, or is there a line in particular that I should move up? It's great at taking that because you've already got the speech together, right? Like you've
Mhm.
already gathered your stories and put them out there. It's all also really good on organizing us, right? Because like I told you in the beginning, I'm an artist, I'm a poet. So sometimes when I put something on paper, it doesn't land like a keynote that I want to present at a leadership event. But if I have the concepts, I can ask AI, "Hey, can you help me be my organizer for this particular talk? Can you help me organize this in a way where it gives clarity to the audience?" Now, we want to do that, but we don't want to say, "AI, write me a speech on how to use AI in public speaking," right? Which is something I could have done today. We don't want to do that because then it's drawing from everyone. And that's when we get into like copyright infringement and doing without integrity. So I always say that it's a great assistant coach, especially for the craft. And we could talk a little bit about how to use it on the business side as well. But when you're talking about the craft of becoming a better speaker, and I will say this one thing, and then I'll pass it back over to you, Caesar. I think what's really critical is you knowing what you want to strengthen in your skill set. So one of the things that I'm working on is not a lot of uhs and ums. Not because I'm worried about professionalism, because it bothers me when I listen back to it. So if I know that, I could say, "Hey AI, can you find all the filler words within this transcript and help me articulate it in a different way?" So if we know what we're working on, it's a great tool that we can utilize as well.
I think that's really key, right? The specificity is what you want to continue to focus on and think about it in terms of like see how deep you can go with it. Like get a response, analyze, and then ask more and more clarifying questions. I actually think that people who might be turned off by it right away sort of give it something surface level or only ask one or two questions and don't continue on with it, right? Or think that it might be able to produce something without giving it something to work with, right? So that's really key. I wanna say hi to Charlotte and Gail and Hang and Yolanda that just joined us. So great that you're here. Jamie is jumping into the room now. For folks that are just joining us, we're here with Evolve Benton, founder of Speaking for Profit, and we're talking about how to level up your delivery using AI tools and how to do that ethically and also to maintain your voice. So one of the initial questions I think Evolve is like there's a lot of options out there for us. Can you guide us on like why you use one version of AI versus another?
I really try to investigate where the AI is going, like where my data is going. That's really important to me when I'm thinking about ethics. I know that ChatGPT is like one of the ones that it's probably the most accessible because it's gotten a great marketing. But we've also seen that when it comes to writing and particularly speaking, it's not the best. So I love Claude AI, one because I've had the user experience, but also I was telling Caesar before you all came on, it'll call you on your stuff, right? So,
Mhm.
I was putting together a sales page before, and Claude was like, you're saying that you've helped people make $3 million from speaking. Can you prove that? Right? Like it called me on my stuff, and I was like, yeah, I can. These are the facts. These are some of the testimonials I have. It said, okay, great. Right? Then you're doing that with integrity. But I really appreciated that in the model that it was like, hey, you need to have integrity if you're putting this out here and be careful. And the same thing even happens when I'm putting together speeches or presentations. It not only thinks about integrity, it also thinks about accessibility. So it'll say, Evolve, everyone in your audience might not know that acronym. Or do you want to state what the acronym is at the beginning of the speech? So I love
Mm.
it because I'm able to have conversations back and forth, but I also know that the model is built on ethical principles that think about the human side of it and think about the integrity side of it and ethics as well. So you could always look up like who are the founders, how are they building this, what is the foundation of that model, and does that connect with my morals and my ethics as well? Not just something that's going to get the job done quickly, but that's going to do a great job in supporting you and hitting your moral values and all of that as well.
Yeah, so Claude is pretty cool. I do think there is a little bit more of a nuanced uh in the ability to kind of take your writing and edit or massage and or analyze things as it relates to writing and speaking. I think there is a something about how they built the model that feels a little bit more creative, right?
Yeah.
I've also used oh, Joelle says Gemini 3 is mind-blowing. Cool.
Oh, yes. I was gonna, that's the next one I'm definitely gonna share.
Okay, nice. And Poppy I've used a little bit, but I also hear good things. One thing I will add is I've noticed, and I definitely use ChatGPT first and still use ChatGPT, but then we'll kind of play with other ones as I go. One advantage of using one model or one of these AIs that might be bigger is that if you're in the business of where people can find you, the more you use ChatGPT, for example, the more likely it is to recommend you if somebody is searching for like a service or something like
That's
that.
very true.
So that's one advantage of playing on the big one, right? Or the big two or three or something like that. And then also just seeing it not only as a tool for you, but as a tool then for how people might learn about you and find you. Uh,
Exactly. I mean, I
yeah.
think that's the cool thing about being able to create your own, right, GPTs. We created one at Speaking for Profit that's like a sales coach, right? So to support people when they're in conversations in the DMs or in emails with decision makers, like what should you say next? And when people search sales coach, Speaking for Profit pops up, right? So that connects them more to the business. So I definitely agree that there's strategies you can use, but as an artist and as a writer, Claude is the one that helps me the most as a researcher and as a person who's trying to put together proposals. I love Gemini. I know someone mentioned Gemini 3. Like it has been amazing because not only am I able to say, okay, hey, I want to reach out to schools to speak at graduations. That's something I'm really big on this year, y'all. I've been looking at the data with our young people and how they're being impacted by our current political climate and social media. And I'm like, all this isolation, like we need to talk to our young people. But I used to have to do a lot of research to find like the schools and the counties and who has the money and all of that. Now I can use Gemini for that. But then I can also say, hey, I want to come back to this and add time on my calendar to research. Can you add this on my calendar for me? Or,
Yeah.
hey, let's take this list of schools that we found and let's put it into a spreadsheet. I've pitched the top 5. Can you check those off and remind me to pitch the next 5? So it's all built into your Google Suite, and it's just been
That's
so powerful to kind of keep me organized in the process. Because you can
yeah.
have so many tabs open, y'all, and then you don't really get anything done, right? You don't get anything done with all these tabs. It's like,
Guilty. Oh my gosh, guilty. Yeah, no, it's pretty wild. I think in just investing and playing with it is just something that everyone should be doing because it's it's going to save you a lot of time and you're going to stumble across something and you're going to realize this is going to save me 10 hours a week, right? Like it can be that powerful. Okay, let's jump back into kind of delivery and using the different models. So walk us through like, all right, for a lot of folks in my community, we land the talk, we're ready to prepare, we've got the script ready to go, and we're practicing our delivery, we're getting feedback from folks. How can I, as you were saying, how can I use it as like my assistant coach? Maybe not my primary coach, but how can I start using it as my assistant coach? Do I just give it the script? Do I give it a recording? What do I ask? Walk us through that, Evolve.
yeah, definitely. So I think it depends on how you've documented the speech. If you documented and you've recorded it on a Zoom or something where you have a transcript, you can use Claude or you can use ChatGPT because they accept those type of frameworks. But if you just have a video and really crisp audio, I love Poppy AI for that. Do you mind if I share my screen really quickly
Go
to
for it. Let
share?
me give you, yeah, let me add you. There you go.
Okay, cool. I just want to share with you all just inside of Poppy so that you could see what I did for a client in particular. Just give me one moment to bring it back up. Okay, great. So this was a speech that was done at our live event, which is Speaking for Profit Live. And what I love about Poppy AI is I could bring the video in from YouTube or Zoom or wherever it may be. Now, this is
Hmm.
also one of the tips that I tell folks. Poppy is going to create a transcript for you anyways when you drag a video in. So if you didn't have the transcript written, like I don't know about y'all, but I'm a freestyler. Sometimes I just want to speak it out. I could speak it into Poppy as well, right? And it could be listening to me and recording me. But what I
Wow.
did was I know that you all focus on the through line, right? Like that's something that Caesar is very critical with when we're thinking about that. So I said, what is the through line of this speech? And Poppy connects to Claude automatically. So that's the other thing. Like I'm able to use the systems that I want to use within here because I know that it has more ethics. And it
Nice.
pulled the journey and it pulled the arch, right? Personal crisis, false solutions around finance, awakening, all of the through lines that it found. But then I was like, okay, this is great, but how do I create this a stronger connection with my audience when it comes to this speech? So it really gave me some key changes that I could think about. Instead of mirrors never work for me, here's another line that you may try. Have you ever felt like you were living in someone else's life? Like the person everyone expected you to be wasn't who you were inside? Right? This is a simple line, but this gives us more clarity in it. So what I love to do is like take the speech that y'all already have, whether that's the audio, the transcript, and the questions that you want to ask are around the feedback that you get from in the community. If people say, you know what, at the end it just felt flat, you can ask Poppy AI, right? Like what parts of this speech add more momentum to the actual opportunity at the end? Like, should I move something around? So I would take the feedback, and if you really are a pro, take the feedback transcript. Ask Caesar for it. He might give it to
Mhm.
you, right? And you could plug that in there and say, "Hey, this is the feedback that I got on my last speech. Can you give me some tools in order to really make it more captivating for the audience?"
Yeah, that's a great point. And right, so all of my coaching calls, for example, are recorded. I use Otter because it's just great at transcribing and creating summaries and all that good stuff. So you could literally, copy and paste, give it to Poppy and say, all right, now sort of cross-reference. Here's my recording, here's my script, here's the feedback I got. Where can I be doing more of this? So that's awesome. There are some specific tools that for most folks, especially if we're early in our speaking careers, that come up time and time again, right? One is pacing. The other is pausing,
Yeah.
and having then good vocal variation throughout, like where the pitch of our voice is changing, and using that appropriately, right? But also with good variation. Like, how would you go about asking for that kind of feedback in Poppy or other tools?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important when we're prompting to tell the tool what we want it to be. So, one of the first things that I always tell the tool is you're a speaker coach, or you're in the audience of 5,000 people and you're sitting in the back. Right? What do you hear in my tone? What do you hear in my pace? And how can that connect with you better in this particular speech? So we want to start off the prompt with who are we talking to? We're not just talking to Poppy or Claude. We want them to play a character for us in that particular. Maybe you're saying, "Hey, you're Caesar Cervantes, my speaking coach," right? Like you can even say that because they're going to pull some information from there and the mindset and how you would look at the speech as well. So start
Right.
off with number one when you're prompting, who is it? What is the information that you want to get? And then what is the outcome that you want to have from it? That's how I like to break it up when I'm thinking about prompting and getting into that conversation.
Oh, that's good. So, yeah, again, using that specificity, like, and I wonder what it would do if you were like, okay, you're Cesar Cervantes, my speaking coach. It'd be like, you're gonna crush it. It'd probably say that first, and then and then it'd be like, all right, okay, okay, and it would probably have a bunch of filler words, and then ultimately land on something. But that's good feedback, right? So frame it, give it, the kind of voice that you want it to have, and then start asking for what you want. And it a good way to think about AI is that it wants to give you what you want, right?
Yep.
So the more information it has, the more likely it is to align and to give you what you want. It also, by thinking that way, it also avoids you just accepting that what it gives you is good or right, or the direction that you should go. So really force yourself to start saying, I hold the vision. This is what I want to see. And once you establish that, then feedback and those tools can be used most effectively.
Yeah. You
But
got to
for,
keep the human in it, right? Like that's really what you're speaking to. Like you are the
yes,
leader, y'all. You are the leader, you're the speaker, you're the CEO of your life and your business. AI is an assistant. So even what it gives you, you might be like, that don't sound right. That doesn't sound like me. That doesn't sit well with me. And maybe that means you need to do some reprompting. Often because I'm from Los Angeles and I have a particular like accent and I talk in a particular way, I don't want to sound too elite. And sometimes AI will take me to PhD land that I'm not even trying to be in. So I'll be
yeah.
like, hey, I'm from South Central Los Angeles. Talk to me like I'm speaking to my grandmother who's from Andalusia, Alabama, and she needs to understand this, right? And that gives it a little bit more clarity of my vernacular and where I'm pulling from. So don't be afraid also to bring your culture and your authenticity into it as well as you're having the conversation.
That's great. Yeah, so one of the questions that I would just make as part of your toolkit, one of the prompts that I have found to be a really effective prompt across platforms is ask the question, how can I improve X for clarity and impact? Or for improved flow and impact, right? And one of the reasons why I think that works so well is because one of the most common mistakes we make is not being able to um, see, because we're the experts, like we know the stuff, right? But it's so hard to have the outside lens. And so when we ask that question about clarity, when we ask where can we improve the impact, it starts to help us see where those gaps are. So that could be both in the writing and it could be in the delivery. So in the delivery, I might say, where can I slow down and create pauses for greater impact?
Mhm.
This is one of the most common questions that I get as we're going through. Sometimes we create those pitch videos and or we're looking at the script, it's sort of like, well, where would the best pause be? And sometimes it's hard for me to exactly say where that should go because you the first step is for you to find your own delivery. And then you can kind of get feedback on it. I want you to do what you would normally do naturally, and then you can get that feedback on it.
Yeah, I definitely love those prompts because they're simple, and I think that what's great about it, depending on what they give you, like you talked about, you can just take it even a layer deeper, right? Depending on your context. And what I love about AI is it's collecting all this information about you, y'all, because you're using it every day, so it's going to speak directly to you. So
Hmm.
if you consistently are asking it questions about pacing, I was preparing for a job interview and I was practicing every day. So AI was also rewarding me and saying, you know what, today, Evolve, your pace is so much better than it was yesterday. Or, you know
Hmm.
what, today you sound a lot more comfortable and energetic. Did you have some coffee this morning? Right. So it'll also be asking you as you're practicing with it, how you're developing and giving you some pointers on how you're doing better as well.
That's so cool. All right. So what else evolved? Like as we start to think about like, have you had a moment, like an aha moment where you look, because I'll be honest, like there are some things that I deliver over and over, and it's rare that I have a new insight, right?
Mhm.
Are there other prompts or things that you can think of in terms of delivery and beyond where you've been surprised by what AI gave you?
I particularly have been using it more for well-being when it comes to speaking.
Hmm.
Right. So I think one of the things you and I have both talked about is the importance of having a pre-talk ritual, something to prepare you for the moment. But what if you just get behind stage and you're just feeling like panicked and you're like, you know what? I only got 15 minutes to prepare. I need a grounding practice, right?
Hmm.
I have used it to go in, like even I admit today, I was like, y'all, I'm not feeling good. Like, what can I do to take care of myself and ground myself for this moment? I only have 15 minutes. Can you give me an opportunity or give me a grounding practice? So I think we can also use it for how we're preparing ourselves and our bodies for those opportunities as well. And even for your post opportunity, because sometimes after speeches or presentations, I get in my head, I didn't do good. It's a lot of self doubt,
Hmm.
right? Like I just finished a really great TEDx talk and I'm feeling like I failed,
Hmm.
right? I'm feeling like I didn't do a good job. Can you give me some words or some affirmations I can use to motivate myself? So I think we can use it also for our well-being as speakers
Yeah,
as well.
that's great feedback.
Mhm.
I think that's fantastic. Have you used it for, and there's a question here from Charlotte, so we'll get to that as well. But and folks, if there's other questions, go ahead and pop those in the chat now. One thing I haven't done and haven't tried is when it comes to blocking or physical, like how we're establishing credibility through our nonverbals, right? The
Mhm.
way that we move on stage. Have you used it to try and analyze that through video? Can it do that?
It definitely can. Now, I have had clients use Yotli. I don't know if you know of Yotli. It's kind of like a speaker coach. And they will particularly tell you about your eye contact, your moving, your swaying. We have not used it where people have not been framed in this particular way, like you and I are, but I'm wondering if we used it more, like if we uploaded a video of someone actually from the stage, would
Hmm.
it give us a different kind of feedback? Because it definitely will tell you if your eye contact is not there, if you're swaying a lot, if you're over fluttering with your hands, or if you're really doing a great use of your hands and your body. But I've never seen a complete human in there. So that's something
Yeah.
that I'm interested in playing with a little bit more. And I'm assuming that Poppy might be able to do that as well, especially if you give it information about how do you want that particular person to utilize the stage,
Right. So if
right?
you gave it
Giving it
the
that first. Yeah.
right, the parameters, if you said, here's what a credible, person would look like on stage, right? These are kind of the movements that we might be looking for. Here are the things that we might not want, and then it could start looking for those things and analyzing it. That's interesting. I'm going to play with that as well.
Yeah.
Um, Charlotte was asking for the name again. Was it Yodely?
Yodely. Yeah. And I'll put the link in there for y'all.
Perfect. Yodely?
I think it's Yodely. Maybe it is Yodely.
Okay, Charlotte, and then your question. So she says, so with ChatGPT, it's not possible to upload a video and use a particular AI for feedback. You can. So ChatGPT does that as well. So you can upload something or you can give it a link, and essentially it'll transcribe it, itself and just do its thing. There are, depends on the platform you're using in terms of like how much data you can give it before it's like, okay, your free version is up kind of thing. But yes, it can do that. And okay, Evolve just dropped Ud Udly.
Yodely.
Udly. Okay, cool.
Think so. You
All
don't know
right.
until you're on a call and it's actual people who are working at that company and they say the name. You're like, I've been saying that the wrong way the whole time. Okay, at least me. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just me. Okay.
All right, Evolve. Any final thoughts for folks on their AI delivery speaking journey?
I think one of the things that I really want you all to think about is the ethics that comes behind it. So one of the ways that I think about AI, and I ask myself that question all the time is my authentic voice still here? That's one of the questions that I will ask myself. The other thing that I ask myself often is, why am I using AI? Right? Like, why? What is the outcome that I'm trying to get? Am I using it for speed? Am I using it to work on a skill set? I never want to just start my creative journey with it, so I ask my question of why. And then when I think about ethics, we always want to be real about when we use it. So if you ever feel that you can't tell someone you use ChatGPT on that, or you can't tell someone you use Claude to help you with that, then that probably means you're not using it in an ethical way. You should feel comfortable enough to say, hey, you know what? I was practicing my TEDx speech and I uploaded it to Poppy, and this is the information that it gave me, and we spoke through it, and I got these really cool pauses that I'm working on. You should feel integrity and proud to say that you're utilizing it. And if you're not, that's a red flag for me that it's probably not an integrity.
I think that's a great point, right? It's a tool, and sharing how it enhances things is really the way I think about it. And I think you're exactly right that and 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 sometimes we feel strange about using it at all, and that just comes with, I think, the comfort of getting in there and using it repeatedly. But I think that's a great takeaway and final thought for us. So, yes, a couple of takeaways for me that I just want to recap for folks is play with these tools. They can do way more than you might know or think. Gemini is super cool as it's integrated into, your G Suite and all of that cool stuff. And ChatGPT is the big player, and the more you use that, you might give it more so that it recommends you and the work that you do to other people. Poppy and what's the other? Claude
Mm-hmm.
work in tandem with each other, and so you can kind of connect them. And the model is more specifically, I think, creative and might be more designed for the kind of work that we're doing. And finally, remember that you want to tell it what it's doing, who it is. Like, you're my coach today. This is here. I want you to think about this. You are Cesar Cervantes, right? And it knows me, so it's fine. It'll pull and it'll be snarky and that kind of thing. Or you are Evolve, and here's what I'm looking for. Here's the feedback that I got. Here's my script. Here's what I'm looking for. So remember always that you're holding the vision, and that specificity is really important, so that's really how it levels up. And remember to continue to dig, and the more questions, the further you go, I think that you're going to be surprised with how much it can help you level up. All right, folks. So with that, I want to open it up to any questions that we might have from the group here. We've got Andy, Charlotte, Dania. Jamie's on the call, Janine's on the call, Joelle, Catherine, Yolanda. What didn't we get to, folks, or anything specific about what you're currently working on that we might be able to help with? We've got some time now. Go ahead, Danya.
So I guess my question is about more like the visuals, like if you're going to use graphics in your presentations and using AI for that. And we've all tried to play with this, and some of the stuff that comes out of this is really wild.
Yeah.
So how do you have you ever played with the AI generated graphics, and how do you get it to fine tune once again to your style? It's like if you're a
Yeah.
doctor, PhD, you don't want silly, I don't know. Well, sometimes you do, just to throw it in, but you do want something a little bit more, just going with the flow of your talk or going the flow with your persona, rather. So,
And so you mean, just to clarify, you mean like helping you create slides for certain moments in the
yeah,
talk, correct?
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have some thoughts, but evolve. What? Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. One of the apps that I use is called Gamma AI. And with Gamma, you're able to upload your outline to create a slide presentation. What I do like about Gamma in particular is that you can style it, right? So you can say, hey, I want it to be professional. You can add in your brand colors in particular. You can say, hey, I want more illustrations or stock photos, or you can upload your own graphics and photos as well. So that tool has been pretty amazing for me thus far. I'm not really into making designs too complicated. Like I think simplicity really helps when we're presenting. Too many words, we've already seen the research, right? It loses our audience. And I like Gamma because it'll ask you, do you want something that's more detailed oriented or more simple? And then I can say simple and it'll draw from there. So that's Gamma AI. I'm gonna put in the chat, y'all, and I'll give this to Caesar for afterwards. I put together like a little tip sheet with all the things I've talked about today, the links to those. And it also has a link to my community if you want to check that out, which is free, the Profitable Speaker Circle. So I'll put that in the chat, but Gamma AI is in there as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, I would, I'll kind of echo that you want to use something that's more specific for that purpose. And first, just to say, like, a visual it tends to be best for slides in general. Like, the way that we want to think about a slide is that it's sort of something that we couldn't say in words, and that enhances, what is being said without taking away from us as a speaker, because ultimately we want to connect with the human. So yeah, less is more for sure. There are certain cases, in more corporate and presentation style where there's exceptions to that. But generally speaking, the way that we move people, create emotion, create transformation is not through words on a slide, right? And then, for example, ChatGPT is not good at this, right? So like if you were like, okay, here's, I want to create a slide that is about, X, Y, and Z. It doesn't look good and it kind of feels very like, I don't know, like clip arty or like just kind of generic. You can connect it to Canva and then it can start to learn like certain things that you've already created. So there are ways to level it up, but in general, like if you were just to go in there and ask it for stuff, it's not going to give you what you want.
Yeah, it just doesn't, the graphics always come out a little off, right? Like it's extra
Yeah,
O at the end of words. I also think Gemini 3 is a great one because it is connected to the Google Suite. So it does have that connection to the presentation platform built into your Google. So you can utilize that as well. And that gives you a little bit more freedom to, play with it and talk to it. So I would try Gemini 3 as well.
cool. Joel says with a good prompt, Nano Bananas Gemini will create or critique an image. That's fantastic. Okay, cool. And thanks so much, Evolve, for creating that one pager for us, and I'll make sure to give it to folks in the community, and so that'll be there for everyone. Yolanda.
Yeah, I just had a quick question because I feel like I'm 20 different people at one time. And I actually, one of my favorite things in my coaching is I talk about a closet full of identities. I know who my authentic self is, but I get to play with being lots of different people. And I found that at least with ChatGPT, sometimes it gets confused about who I am in terms of doing that, and how, like, if you have if you are someone who has, one day you're a scientific person and you're doing research or publication, and then another day you're doing marketing, and then another day you're trying to write something for your TEDx talk, how do you help ChatGPT or whatever AI understand, your authentic self coming through at these multiple different identities?
Yeah.
That's a great question. That's a really great question.
Well, I'll start just with ChatGPT because you can create projects or
Mhm.
GPTs and then you feed it, right? And you say, here's what I want to happen within these. And so in a way you could create different voices or
Hmm.
personalities or however you want to think about that, and then it can jump. I think that's the most effective way, at least on that platform, because then it's
Hmm.
not having to kind of sift through it, and then you're not sure if it's like, oh, is it because I'm not on the paid plan or like what's going on
Hmm.
here, right? So I would think of
I'm
those
never
as
on the paid plan. It's always as much
okay.
as I can get for free.
Yeah.
I might have
So
an MD, PhD, but I do listen through the ads on YouTube.
that's right. So at least for ChatGPT, that's how I would think about it. And then really it's about spending time with it and
Mm-hmm.
fine-tuning it and seeing yourself actually as the guide for creating these
Hmm.
mini models. And yeah. So what are your thoughts, Evolve?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Like, you can group things on most of these platforms or create projects. Even on Poppy, that's one of the things I
Hmm.
do love about Poppy in particular. I can create a group so I can upload a bunch of different videos of myself and say, hey, this is my voice in particular, pull from here when we're writing this speech in a particular way. The other
Okay.
thing for you to think about also, which I don't think there's anything wrong with this, I have clients who have different GPTs for those different versions of themselves. I mean, it is free. So
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
could potentially create different logins
That's what I was thinking.
depending on what you're using it for. And that might be connected because you're connecting sometimes your research and all of that, and that might be in
Hmm.
a different cloud. So don't be
Hmm.
afraid to also house them in different places if you do consistently see that collide. Because I've had
Hmm.
clients who've done it. They have like the research side of themselves, right? That
Hmm.
are doing
Hmm.
like that client I showed you recently, like they do finance, but then they also like have another realm of themselves that does comedy. And some of the
Right.
comedies a little XX. That has nothing to do with their financial advisory side, right? And they want to be able to work on that. So they created two different platforms for that. Yeah.
Okay. That's a great, I might
Yeah.
actually do that.
That's interesting. I would wonder how much of the info it pulls, though, from the internet, right? And so is it
Exactly.
that is it only that you're giving it certain things and that's how it's building it, or is it also pulling from stuff that's already available, in which case it might not be as effective as creating those little GPTs or what have you,
Sure.
because at least then you have control over it. But the truth is, I don't know. I don't
You
I
just got
don't
to A
know.
B test it and try it out.
Right, yeah.
I'll let you guys
Everyone
know.
finds a workflow that kind of works for them. I haven't done that, but for my client, it was like, hey, this is perfect. So
Yeah.
I'll let you all you know. No. All right.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Yolanda. All right, folks, we might have time for one more question. Anybody else out there? Don't be shy. All right. Well, in that case, I think we're going to close. It's been such a joy, Evolve. As always, you are bringing the heat. You're bringing the good stuff.
I always
And
have so
we,
much fun with you. And I've been telling actually for the month of, yeah, for the first quarter, we're going to focus on this cool book
woo!
within the Profitable Speaker Circle, which I'm really excited about. But I've been telling so many folks about how this is so good. And I'm just so
Thank
proud
you.
of you and the work that you continue to do to really contribute to us as speakers. So I just want to give you a thank you as always and just let you know that I'm putting you on because I believe in you and I really do. I really do. The book is really good, y'all. Like I read it during my recovery because I had a surgery at the end of the year. And I was like, not only is it a quick read, it gives me so many tools that I can utilize. So I'm so thankful for you.
Thank you, Evolve. Oh, that's so cool. I'm choking up. I'm choking up over here. You're awesome. As always, thank you for being in my life. Let's dance this thing out, y'all. Woo! on out. Let's hit the weekend. Here we go. Woo! Love you guys. Bye, Dania. Bye, Janine. Bye, Joelle, Catherine, Yolanda. Everybody, thanks so much for joining us. Bye, Charlotte.
Peace, y'all.
Bye.